Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Another famous, wild, wonderful episode of Giant James Kitchen. This week I'm cooking a dish from Tuscany. It's one of my favorites. It's creamy chicken, bacon, spinach, garlic pasta. In my opinion, some of the best food in the world comes from Tuscany. It's lush. It's just an area of outstanding natural beauty. Rolling hills, green pastures, wonderful ingredients, so natural, so fresh, very clean air, very clean water. Nearby towns in like Montepulciano are famous for having some of the best wines in Italy as well. So they make some pretty fucking damn awesome food. So as usual, this dish is very, very easy to cook, very straightforward. Just follow these step-by-step instructions and you can't really cock it up. But maybe I can. So let's just talk you through the ingredients. So we've got some fresh spinach. You need about a cup of this. This is an excessive amount of green spinach. You will not need this much. But actually spinach does wilt a lot. We'll be using just the leaves, the tips mainly today. And you can save the bottom, you can grill it for, I don't know, stews or with oyster sauce and reuse it in another dish with some fish or whatever afterwards. Very reusable. We've got a whole pile of chicken breasts here. We've got about 4. You only really need probably 3. We're probably going to use all 4. There's a studio full of hungry Chinese guys who are Hong Kong locals. You want to eat some delicious Western food. So we got to keep them fed and happy because they look after me. We've got some pasta. We've got 500 grams. I mean, the recipe says cook 340 grams, but I'm going to cook it all for the same reasons as I've just mentioned. I like to scale it up a little bit every time because we're cooking, with this dish you're kind of cooking for 4 people, but we're cooking for maybe 6 here, so we always add maybe a third extra. We've got 2 fresh tomatoes. These are quite big ones. We're going to dice these. We've got with some garlic, we're gonna crush and dice maybe 4 cloves in that. Got some bacon here. This is lovely back bacon, but you can use streaky bacon, like American style bacon, which is very fatty, gets a lot crispier. We're gonna pan fry this. You should really use streaky bacon because it does get crispier, because the crunchiness goes really well in the pasta, but this bacon is good as well, and this is actually my favourite style of bacon. It's like English, Danish style bacon, which is it's just nicer. You get actually proper meat, whereas the other stuff, the American style or the streaky bacon, it's really fatty. I don't like it so much. So we've got half a cup of cooking cream, which is, I don't know how many mils this is. Anyway, we're gonna use the whole thing. It's nice and creamy and thick. We've got half a cup of Parmesan cheese, Parmesan. If you watch South Park, Parmesan. And of course, you've got olive oil, pepper, and sea salt, no doubt. Okay, let's get the cooking. So, we want our pasta. We don't want to cook it the whole way. We're going to start with the pasta. So, take this, season it really well. I'm just going to add all that pasta in there. Put it on full blast. We're going to cook it for about 3 minutes. Okay, and then while that's doing, we're going to just put some oil in our pan. Get a good spread on there. Okay, take your chicken breasts, lay them out. You can use chicken thighs as well. I'm just going to use chicken breasts. And you want to season them really well with salt. Lots of pepper in there as well. Some people season both sides. I don't think you need to really. You can use thighs, you can use whatever. We're just going to cook these for 4 minutes on each side, right? So it should have cooked through a little bit already. Now what you're looking for is it's called al dente. I've mentioned this before. There's a slight crunchiness in the pasta, so it's cooked, but it's still a little bit crunchy. Too much crisp, so it needs just a little bit more time, maybe another minute, and then we'll drain it. Okay, and while that's doing, we're going to wash off our board because it's got raw chicken on it. We'll just take that pasta off the heat, otherwise it'll overcook. Here we go. You drain it. And we're going to save a cup of pasta water. Some people toss it in olive oil to stop it sticking. I don't bother. Okay. So that's 4 minutes on one side. Now for the other. So that'll get nice and hot pretty quickly. So we'll just shove the bacon in. And we're going to cook probably the whole pack. We'll do 3 slices at a time. This bacon's so thin, it doesn't take long to cook. Just make sure it's on a high heat. Check it doesn't stick to the bottom of the pan. And you can see the fat will start to render off it and it'll start to crisp up. Okay. Let me just check the other side. Just make a small incision in the chicken breast to make sure it's cooked all the way through. If it's not, so this needs a bit more time, just cook it on each side a little bit more, for a few more minutes, not a problem. Add a cheeky little bit more oil to stop it from sticking to the bottom of the pan. Take some towel, and lay it out. Here, I'm just going to take that bacon. You're going to drain any excess fat off it. Still needs a bit more time. Okay, we're just going to turn the heat off on that pan there. Just going to add a little bit of olive oil. We're going to cook the base of our sauce in the same pan that we just cooked the bacon in. You keep all those flavors in there, all those lovely bacony flavors. It's going to add a real smokiness, a real depth of flavor, a real saltiness. You should be done now. So we're just going to take all these off the heat and we're going to let them rest so the meat fibers can relax. We're going to let them rest for a few minutes. Turn the heat off. Let that chill out. So with the garlic, don't be too precious about it, just slice it up. It's going to get, don't worry about dicing it, it's going to get lost in the sauce anyway. My skills need a little bit of work. Feeling rusty. So just going to take our tomatoes, cut the top off, both of them. That garlic and that bacon, it smells delicious. This dish takes about 20 minutes to put together. So if you're looking for something to do, you know, for a fair few numbers, and you haven't got that much time, this is one of those dishes it's great for. So you take the tomato, chop it in half, and you want to just crisscross and dice it. Your tomato is so big, you can always chop it smaller, but it will get smaller in the pan under the heat. Okay, so we're going to put this on a very low heat, the garlic and the tomatoes. And just let that saute a little bit. Saute just means frying on a really low heat. Just slowly releasing those flavors. All the oil, so you can smell that garlic. It smells good, right? All those flavors from the bacon and the chicken will be cooking into that now as well, forming like a nice base. Which I don't always live by. I'm just going to take a good bunch of spinach. You want about a cup's worth, so we're just going to chop off the heads. Just going to roughly chop it up. You don't have to be too precious about this. I mean, it's just going to go into the pan. It's going to fry away, but it's going to shrink and wilt under the heat. So grab a good handful, chuck it in, bit of pepper. You should season throughout cooking, I think. I just want to cook off these elements a little bit before we add the cream. But we can prepare the cream. Add your cup of cream. This will give that sauce like rich creaminess, lovely flavour. It'll coat the pasta because we're going to cook it in. See the pasta itself. We're going to add. The recipe says like a third of a cup of Parmesan. We've increased our measurements, so, and plus I love Parmesan cheese, so I'm going to add more in. You see all the top chefs in restaurants around the world, they always add like loads of Parmesan, loads of butter. It's their little cheat to make the food taste better. A lot of pro chefs, if you go to their restaurants, use a lot of butter, a lot of Parmesan cheese, a lot of heavy ingredients, because it does increase flavour, but it's also really, really unhealthy. So just going to cook it. We're going to add half the cup of pasta water, just to thin out the mixture a little bit, and let it reduce down a little bit. Evaporate some of that excess liquid off, otherwise that sauce will be too thin. Just the cream on its own is too heavy, and reduce it a little bit to find that right consistency where it coats the pasta. It's creamy but not too heavy. And while that's simmering, we're going to just take our chicken breast and we're just going to dice it up, slice it nicely. You should just get that, see it's still moist inside, sort of juicy, right? Okay, so you want to just chop up all your chicken breasts, just while those ingredients are simmering away lightly. Okay. Yum. Going to move our mountain of chicken over to one side, and we're going to just chop this bacon up into bits as well. Still hard to find. Okay. Let's now add all your meat. Mix all the sauce up in there. And turn the heat up a little bit on this. All those bits and bobs get into the meat. And you're going to add the pasta finally into there. Just take handfuls, and some of that sauce will now be absorbed into the pasta, and that's why you cook it al dente, so a little bit crunchier, so that when you finally add the pasta into the sauce, it cooks the pasta a little bit more. It's good. It's not too creamy. You get like all the smoky bacon flavour and the garlic in there, and then a little bit of taste of spinach. It's delicious. And there's tomatoes, add a little bit of freshness against the creaminess. It's good. You'll enjoy that. Look at my, buy some cider from my store online at MIHK.TV/store. Keep watching the show. Leave some comments. Let me know what you think. Any changes, any presentation issues, anything you'd like to see me cook, any famous Western dishes you're keen for. Yeah, shout out to all you guys for watching. Thank you very much. And I'll see you next week. Bye bye.